Welcome to episode 24 of the BattleVault, a no dice, no glory podcast dedicated to the world of Battlefront's 15mm tactical gaming, including Flames of War, World War III, Team Yankee, Great War, NAM, and Fate of the Nation. Today's January 29th. I'm Ed, and I'm joined by my buddy Tom. So, Tom, tell me, what's going on?
Hey, man, we're moving into our third year. This is, I know it's episode 24. We must have missed one somewhere along the way, but we started on January 2 years ago. So now we're beginning our third year of podcasts. So this should be episode 25, but somewhere along the way we skipped one or something. Maybe we'll do a catch back up and do 2 episodes in a single month in the future. But so we're still going strong, and we still find something every month, more or less, to talk about. And so a little bit noteworthy. But so for this episode specifically, to answer your question, Ed, we will start off with mentioned in dispatches, and we will cover recent No Dice, No Glory, Flames of War, Team Yankee related articles. There were some good ones posted by some excellent authors. one of which might be me. We'll also go over, as normal, some recent Flames of War, Team Yankee tournament results. Get some little names and highlights for some of those folks winning some of these events that are going on out there, and let people know what's happening in the field. Then we're going to go into a little bit of a Bulge campaign review. Ed, you've got the new card pack, and we're going to talk about embarking on that like we did with the what was the Soviet one? Something about rivers.
That was the Bagration one that we did, and you know what, a big fan of the campaign stuff. So that I'd be happy to talk about that.
So we'll go more of that. Then we're going to go into a review of the Mid-War compilation book that Battlefront is about to release, and we'll focus on the beast, the Mid-War monsters. In our favorite section, rules Ed forgot or Tom butchered, we'll do that, and then we'll talk about upcoming Flames of War Team Yankee events. So Ed, you've been a busy beaver, man. You've been cranking out the models. So what have you been working on?
Well, I haven't played a lot of games lately. However, after my vacation time there in South Carolina, I came back here and hunkered down, weather and people having COVID. I'm trying to, stay away from all that mess. But I did run a tournament, and during that time period there, I finished up some more Team Yankee stuff for my West Germans, a couple of Jaeger platoons there. So I added more of my infantry. I added some more of the Panzer, the spas there. I got a couple more of those, and I finished them up. But my main effort lately has been for producing my American infantry. I've got so many of them, and I don't normally play American stuff. I'm usually the guy everybody else wants to play Americans, and allies. I'm usually playing the Germans to round it off there to get an even flow of the red versus blue. But I've been wanting to put this together for some time. The Bulge book finally came out, and so I'm using my infantry that I've got there, and I've got so many. I'm going to put together a battle-weary, winner, displayed stands there for the Bulge campaigns.
So what do you mean by battle-weary? I mean, I know what they are in the rules. How will you make these units look battle-weary?
Well, what I'm doing here with the figures I have, they're primarily summer uniform, things like that, and some late war, some mid-war, type form uniform kind of stuff. But when you ever look at the American troops there, at least initially. When you see films and pictures, a lot of them didn't have their winter gear with them, and so I'm still, which is fine with my stance because I don't have a lot of winter infantry mixed in there, but I do got a couple that are mixed in there with their overcoats, but I'm just making them look a little ragged, and But
so a motley look.
Still putting it on winter stand, and as long as they look good at arm length, that's good enough. And for me, that's battle weary.
Okay, makes sense. So you're just going to use a mix of figures. Some guys in overcoats, some guys not. Right. They may have lost their overcoats. Even if they had them issued, they may have lost it. They're getting pushed back by the Germans. Also, they're running around and building up body heat, so they're not going to be wearing the overcoats all the time. I mean, guys that are on the assault, you're gonna roll that thing up, and pack it away, right? You're gonna be moving.
That's right.
You're gonna get all super sweaty if you don't put that thing away. So yeah, it's cool. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Now, are you going to put them on snow bases?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I just finished. I did just finish my German winter formation for the Wolf Craig tournament that we're getting ready to have. So I've got that one done, and I put them all in winter. So I've got a great looking formation there. And I'm calling them. Snow bases?
How are you making your snow bases?
I'm using this stuff called foam and snow that I got at Hard Knocks Games there, and it looks like snow, but I also have the sprinkle snow that you get with the terrain kind of stuff, and I've tested it out with an observer stand for an American because I had a couple of observers. Anyway, it looks okay. I kind of like my foam and snow, but that's what I use for my German. So I'm still.
Well, that's for the audience who can't see your bottle. That's like a little eyedropper. Who makes that?
It looks like. You're asking me to read. It looks like Vallejo.
Okay.
Vallejo puts this out.
And it's called Foam and Snow.
Foam and Snow.
Huh. Yes. Oh, so I guess it could be used for foam effects, like on a naval diorama.
That's like correct. Like the crest of the wave, and when the ship's going through the foam kind of looking kind of stuff.
Or it could be used for snow on like winter bases and so on. Are you going to try to are you going to whitewash any of your vehicles?
I haven't got to vehicles yet. I might just do some dry brushing with some white on them if I do that. But I've got enough American Shermans to do that with, so I might just make some special ones just for Bulge. Yeah.
And I think there's some products, some whitewash kind of streaking products you can just kind of paint down in vertical lines, that make them look like they're kind of worn. So sounds good. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to it. The biggest thing is I guess I will have to be doing a German force, and I have STL files to do guys in overcoats, so I'm looking to do a German winter force here in the near future, also a Soviet winter force. So and I definitely want my Soviet snow base. Haven't decided if I want the Germans. I probably put like a patchy snow, and you're gonna do that, right? Too patchy, or are you just gonna try to make the base entirely snow?
Oh, it's gonna be patchy. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Little brown clumps of grass, and a little bit of snow here. Yeah. Well, that would be great. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Well, I have done squat this entire month. In fact, and I have not bought anything. I have. I was just looking my hobby account that I allocate myself each month. I haven't spent a single penny from it. I had to miss your team. Yeah, I had to miss your Team Yankee event because of work. So
I know.
Yeah, and I haven't printed anything either. My printer's been pretty much idle, minus some minor things I've done for some friends. I haven't printed anything for myself, and the only painting I've been attempting has been 28 millimeter Napoleonics, and that's just a slow go. That's a slow moving process, but I need to get a little bit more motivation. I unfortunately, YouTube, I've discovered a YouTube app on my TV. That's evil. That just sucks up all my time. Because I start watching Revolutionary War documentaries, and then it refers something else to me, and then something else to me, and then something about Austin Healy Sprite or MG Midget repairs, and and then next thing you know, just all this stuff keeps. And there's no clock on it, so I don't realize how much time's evaporating. I need to look at my watch more. So YouTube's been evil lately. I need to get away from the sofa and the TV app and get back into my painting room more. So in any case, so that's pretty much all I've been up to. And now I did write an article, and I won't go into details about that because that's going to be our subject for later. But we've done a handful of articles on No Dice, No Glory by various contributing authors. The first one is The Beast Are Back, Mid-War, The Monsters in North Africa Mid-War Forces. That new compilation is coming out. That was written by me on the 14th of January. We also have a very good article by Richard Steer that came out on the 21st of January, North Africa, Revisiting the British List for Mid-War Flames of War. So Richard went ahead and did a nice review of how he's altering his list based off of the new changes and new options and for the compilation. And then on the 28th, just yesterday, we had published an article I really dug. It was by Howard West, Team Yankee Cold War Warrior Revisited, the T-55 tank. You will love this article, Ed. It is a nice.
I will read it.
Yeah, go check it out. He broke down the T-55 and all of its glorious iterations and use in the Team Yankee environment. He also goes into the history of it. He brings in a ton of reference material for actual books and publications about the T-55. So definitely worth checking out. So I would say if you haven't been to No Dice No Glory yet, that's nodicenoglory.com. Drop in. We've got articles coming up at least once a week, reference Flames of War Team Yankee, and here for this month we've got 3 up already, and so please check them out. Okay, well let's move into recent events that have been played. So what do we got here, Ed? What we got for Flames of War?
Okay, let me scan down here. I got event results. You want to talk about those?
That's what we're saying.
Okay, all right. Well, we had Able Company as January's late war tournament on the 8th of January. At the same time, I had my Team Yankee tournament. And let's see, they had 15 players show up, which is great, 3 rounds. And it looks like Joe Lewis's British won that tournament. Let's see.
I think that was a Bulge theme. I think that was Bulge theme too.
I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah. And I can't remember how many points they were doing on that one. I think it was 100 points. Yeah. Okay. They also did a tournament the week earlier. It was a late war tournament, and they had 8 people show up, in which case Chris won with his Soviets. Chris Fretz. Yeah. All right.
Yep. A little tiny event. That sounded a lot like the event we ran that Chad put together. The little, remember
the New Year tournament?
Yeah, the 30-point thing that we did.
Oh, is that what that was?
Yeah, remember we did it with, that was a pretty good deal. Okay. What else?
Let's see. In December, we had 2 other tournaments here to make note of. We had D6 Battle of the Bulge Aces, and John Cederberg won that, and this was on the 30th of December. So, and that was a late war. 14 people showed up, 3-round tournament, of course, and John Cederberg won with his Germans. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's cool and good to see him. He was out for medical stuff for a while, so good to see him back up involved in tournaments. Back
and rolling, yeah.
Yeah.
And we got another one that was played on the 18th of December, a Bulge tournament at, looks like Fabricators Forge. I'm not sure
it's
where
outside
that is.
That's outside of Pittsburgh. That's the Pittsburgh guys.
All right, very good. So I can pretty much figure out who was there. So that was a late war, 14 players also, and that looks like it was won by Mike Schwell. Help me out on the spelling of that one.
Schwell sounds good to me.
All right. Okay, I don't know him.
Right, no, I don't think I've met him. Tim McClellan was second. We know him, and Timothy Halden was third. So yeah, you would know most of the other guys that were there. But so maybe that's a new player.
That's good.
Stepping out and doing well. So good to see that. All right, I'll hit the Team Yankee.
Team Yankee. Let's see what we got here. Let's start with December and work it to more recent. So I'm looking at the Thanksgiving Alpine Assault on the 11th of December. That was 8-player event. And let's see, Patrick Weiss won that with his West Germans. Yeah. All right, good.
This was played in Leesburg, Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. John Holland came in second, by the way, on that one. Good buddy of
Oh,
ours.
really? Well, he's all
Yep.
over the place. Good God.
Yeah.
All right. The next one I got down there was Operation Counter Punch on the 12th of December, a small event with 6 players. And it looks like, let's see, the winner is QT Player. What is that?
I guess he didn't want to put his name up on the internet. So,
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an unknown person. Yeah.
And
this was
a
played
Czech
in
dissident that is still in hiding, and he was playing a Czech army. And so congratulations there.
And apparently he's a good painter. He got best painted as well. And the tournament was played in Edmonton, Canada.
Oh,
So
okay, good.
Yep. All right,
Fantastic.
You should know a lot about this next one.
Yes, this next one. I thought I had the biggest tournament going here on the 8th of January. I had 26 people signed up. And then we had the storm come in and everybody started catching COVID. And so, and then Tom had to leave for work.
That's it.
And then we had 3. Anyway, what happened was 16 dropped out in the 2 days before, from everything from weather to COVID to couldn't get a babysitter, you name it. And so we had a husband and wife team coming up from Fort Campbell. They had to cancel, and because of the babysitter, of all things. Yeah, we had a large contingent from Fort Campbell come up. We had 8 of our 8. Let's see.
We had 10 players total.
Yeah, we had 6 of them. 6 of them from Fort Campbell. And
cool.
Great showing by them, and I appreciate them coming up and supporting us up here. And I intend to do the same with them when they do their tournament here. I think in April, is when John Pirtle said he was going to do that. But anyway, the tournament was won by Charlie Clay, and he won with West Germans. Yeah,
miracle. West Germans winning. Awesome.
Yeah, I know it. I can't believe it. Yeah, and so there you go.
He did not do as well. He did not do as well yesterday at the Las Vegas Open. He had a rougher road at that event. So, so cool.
All right,
so
we'll get to that.
One more event.
And we have another one. It's World War III. It looks like an AIW SK tournament. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that'd be an Arab-Israeli war.
Oh, okay. All right, great then.
I don't know what SK means.
SK.
But maybe it's Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
Lumsden, Canada. So I guess that's
okay. There you go.
Saskatchewan. And so that's cool. Then another Canadian Team Yankee event, and up in the Great White North there, and they had 8
Jace
players.
Pippin. Yeah, Jace Pippin won with his Egyptians. Yeah,
we see him
looking at picking up that Egyptian box starter set. I like that. The T62s and the Zeus there, and I don't know. I just saw it on sale and I thought I might pick it up. Anyway.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, cool. Well, I have Israelis. I've got an Israeli force ready to go that you've never played against. So anytime you got Egyptians ready, I got Israelis to face them.
Okay. Egyptians or Syrians, I haven't decided yet.
Well, there's really no difference. I mean, you can basically almost use the same models. The Jordanians have like British-looking helmets, so they're kind of hard. But Egyptians, Syrians, you can kind of paint them generically. Like you said, arm's length. You get away with, green tanks or tan camouflage tanks or whatever, and then just some Soviet infantry and some khaki, or desert tan kind of colors. And you're pretty good for Egyptians or Syrians. Not really much of a difference in how they look. So
yeah,
cool.
I can feel you pushing me to do this. Yeah, so you could play your Israelis.
I'm ready, dude. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I know.
I got my just like I'm ready to go for World War I with both for your French, just like I'm ready to go for Vietnam.
I do have them out. Have them out. And I want to at least get at least a platoon done for you. So next time I can say, I've done something.
Yeah. Excellent. So this being Saturday, the 29th of January, we do have some some breaking news results. So we did get the results from the Las Vegas Open, which is going on this weekend. We've got many friends at, And for the Team Yankee event yesterday, I got the top 5. Jacob Meyer from the 12 Hombres. He's from down there in the Texas area. He came in 5th with Germans. So your West Germans made the top 5. John Cederberg came in 4th with Soviets, and he's the only Soviet in the top, Red Force player in the top 5.
Wow.
And he's from Minnesota, as you know. And then Tom Weller. I don't know Tom Weller. I'm not sure we've come across him in the past, but this is out the West Coast, so there's a lot of folks there we would just not be familiar with. And
Right.
I mean, it's in Las Vegas, but it's the West Coast Nationals. So Tom Weller, he came in 3rd with US. There you go, Team USA.
Yay!
Had three wins, but only came in 3rd. And Cederberg had 3 wins, but only came in 3rd. So they must have been going off of points because John Meyer had 2.5 wins, 2 wins and a draw, but he ended up with 19 points. And he had West Germans. Look at that.
Yes.
So West Germans came in 2nd. I'm shocked. Although he may have had like Israeli allies or something. He often does stuff like that. And then coming at the number 1 spot, Keith Gilmore, running British, which is pretty much all he runs. So and he had 19 points too. So I guess this must have been a points-driven event because Tom Weller and John Cederberg won all 3 events, but they must have bled a lot of points. Whereas I know Keith Gilmore, John Meyer, they went 8-8-3, both of them. And who knows, they probably played each other in the last round or something. And I don't know much about we don't have the exact forces here, but we do know that Keith, we know what he plays. He guarantee to you he has the AV-8B unit, right? Because he'll tell you over and over again, if you're playing British and you're not taking the AV-8B unit, you're doing it wrong. And then he probably has a strong dismounted infantry contingent. Some of the, I don't know, the air mobile guys or probably the half-track guys, the 113 guys. Sure, he doesn't bother the warriors. And then probably had the reconnaissance squadron, the scimitars and scorpions. I don't think he's changed his list much since he's been playing Team Yankee, and every time he shows up with it, he does well. Which is, leans credit to, instead of jumping all over the place and playing everything, if you stick to a specific thing, you can really hone your skills, and really, kind of understand the capabilities. And that's pretty much what he does, both in Flames of War, where he plays Brits all the time, and Team Yankee. And then early war, he plays, mid-war he plays Germans. And then late war, he plays a lot of Brits, and then he plays nothing but Brits in Team Yankee. So good on you. So congratulations, guys. Our buddy Charlie Clay sent me that information. Thanks, Charlie. We appreciate it. And for the scores that we pulled those from the other events. We got those from Battle Rankings. That was a good place to go to get information on recent events and seeing how things are going. So we were able to pull those in. And so that pretty much wraps up our event coverage. So let's go into the Bulge campaign deck review. This is one of these card decks, right, Ed? You bought this thing recently?
Yes, I did. Let's take a break there for a minute there, Tom, if you don't mind.
All right, everybody, welcome back from the break. So we're going to go ahead and have Ed explain how this new Bulge campaign deck works.
Okay.
So how's it work, Ed?
All right. Well, as you guys know, the Bulge American book came out, and in there it talks a little bit about the campaign, but they've got a link campaign, which is different from the card campaign. And so, but the link campaign on page 94 that's mentioned there introduces 3 new scenarios for you to take a look at. One's roadblock, the other one is elastic defense, and then finally, of course, if it has a bulge in there, they got to have a nuts in there. So there you go. So so they got 3 things in there. And so in the link campaign, it explains what to do there on page 94. But with the cards, and Tom, that I'm a big fan of the Ace campaign card games that we've done. You and I have done the one with the
good mileage out of those.
Yeah, they were great, and it gave us something to do with a sequence based on how we actually performed in our previous battles. We could win like extra like command cards, but they call them award cards there. and so it gives you an extra capability for the next round. It's really good, and you know I love that. And so with the Battle of the Bulge Ace Campaign cards, it works the same way as the Bagration thing. You've got 4 main episodes, okay? And episodes are 4 main battles. You got your initial start of the campaign, so some initial battle is going to be done, and this is what they call episode 1. And so anybody that starts this is going to start out with this particular thing, and it's going to start out with the mission of breakthrough, where the Germans attack. And so the result of this battle, if the Allied wins, it tells you which second round game you're going to play. And so if the Allies win this one, then they're going to go to the next episode, episode 2, and there's 2 cards there, one if the Germans win, one if the Allies win. And so if the Allies win that first breakthrough mission and hold the Germans right away, they're going to go to the mission, they must be stopped, which is, when you look on the card, it is going to be the roadblock scenario, the new one that's mentioned in the Bulge book. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, if the Germans win, it's going to go to the rear guard. It's called, they title it, They Keep Coming. And the mission played there is going to be a rear guard with the Axis being the attacker. And so that's how that works. And then you go based on
you have these 4 primary episodes, but does it have the sidebar missions like we had in the last campaign?
Yes, it does, and it still does. And so you have the option just to play episode to episode, but if you want to expand it like you and I did, we play a scenario in between that. It's a side skirmish and another battle in between the main ones. And so you basically
we played the full 8 games last time.
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the episodes are the ones that actually count towards winning. If I recall, when we did the sidebars, the results of those could result in additional cards being awarded, but they didn't move the meter on who's winning the campaign. They were just kind of like you played on the side to get additional cards, but they didn't affect, because I think I had lost some of the sidebars, but I think I won the primary episodes, at least 3 of the 4. I think that's why I won the last campaign, even though you beat me up in a lot of the sidebars.
You got a memory of an elephant, I swear. You are absolutely correct. I only won compared to me. You are absolutely right. And I only won one of the episodes in the Bagration one. Anyway, but I would win the sidebar ones, which didn't count.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. And
they were fun.
And I don't know how you did it, because I could swear I should have won each one of those. Anyway.
And we played every single game at your house, right? We played on your table. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So you set up the table every time. So there you go.
Yes, and that's my next project I got to do because of the new hill terrain kind of stuff. And I know you're going to say something.
Real hills.
I knew you were going to say something like that. Yeah. Yes, Tom. I will make real hills. Okay.
Little mini mounds.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Messing with my hills again. Okay.
Indeed.
But yeah, I will make a tiered, like several tiered, expandable. You can,
Yeah, terraced. I get it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do.
Or you can stack them. You can make little big flat ones, smaller flat, medium flat ones, and small flat ones, and stack them up to 3 levels. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah,
I can help you there. I got foam cutters and tons of that dense polystyrene, so we can.
No, the thing is, I got the stuff ready to go. I just need the foam. I need to get the right level foam.
I've got tons of it. That's what I just said. Just come on over. We'll cut it up and hook you up. It's just sitting in my garage, so I've got so much GeoHex and Battlefront hills and all that stuff, so I don't really make hills anymore because I've got so many commercial products. So you're welcome to use as much of it as you want.
Well, fantastic.
So good deal. Hey, so let me ask this question. In the last time, now this card deck is already out. You already own it.
Yes.
It uses some of the scenarios from the new book, the new U.S. book. Does it also use scenarios from the yet to be published German book?
I don't think so. Let me get the episode 4 ones real quick. I left them in the other room.
Yeah, because
But,
that's one thing I recover from the Bagration Aces campaign we played, is that even though we had the cards, the second book, I guess the Soviet, one of the books was not published yet, so we did not have the full access. So we had to play alternate scenarios. It would suggest you play this one, but if you didn't have that book, it would refer you back to like one of the standard ones. So if you didn't have, so you had this card deck and it said play nuts, but you don't have the American book with a nuts scenario in it, then it would give you some alternatives to play instead. So is that the same case here?
Yeah. In the case here, for example, using the nuts thing, it says it doesn't give you an alternative. However, when I look at nuts, when I look at the nuts scenario.
Let's see. Good emphasis there.
It looks pretty. It looks pretty familiar as one of the other, because what it has, it has Americans set up in the center, long end in the center, with the Germans on the outside, the attacker being on the outside on both sides there, in which case no more than 60% of the force will be on either side. So that sounds really familiar to a scenario that we already have, and I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Well, yeah, but if you don't have the card or you don't have the book, you don't know even you have no clue what nuts is like. Right. So if you have this card deck and you don't have the U.S. Bulge book, you have no idea what those scenarios are about. So that's what I'm saying. Do they give an alternative? So like if you don't have, it says you should play nuts here, but you can't play nuts because you don't have the book. Does it say or use some standard scenario?
It does not say.
Okay.
No.
Well, that's a shame.
Unlike Bagration, which did.
Yeah, I thought it did. And also in Bagration, we had scenarios from the upcoming book suggested. So really, can we fully use this thing before we have the German book in May? Because there might be scenarios in there that are going to be in the German book.
No, the answer is everything that you need right now is here. If you got the Bulge book, you'll see the 3 new scenarios.
Okay. But are there more than 3 new scenarios?
No, but it does use some of the D-Day German scenarios like breakout, outflanked.
Yeah, those are standard scenarios now.
Yeah. And that came out of the German D-Day book, yes.
Yeah, I know, but now they've been incorporated into the Matrix, so they're available for the download.
That's correct.
It's just these ones with special titles, and I'm guessing if you go through it a little bit in more detail, you're probably going to see some scenarios that are possibly going to come from the German book. But no,
it's not there. There's no new German scenario.
So we don't have to wait on the German book in order to play this thing.
That's correct.
Okay, well that's good, because I think that was one of the issues. I know it was one of the issues we had with the Bagration Aces, is where it was saying, hey, you should play this scenario, but that book wasn't out yet. So we didn't have time, so we just had to play something random, or I think it gave us alternates, but
it gave you the alternate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it could be maybe there won't be new scenarios in the upcoming German Bulge book. Maybe only the new scenarios are just the American ones. So maybe for this particular release that worked out. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
good deal. So when are we going to start this thing?
As soon as possible. Now that we've kind of gone through our vacation time period, and things are starting to come back to somewhat normal. But that.
What are you playing? Are you going to play the Germans or the or Americans?
I don't know. I think maybe for this thing, as I know you've got German stuff, and I just finished my Volks Grenadiers for the upcoming German book when it comes out. But I got my German winter already taken care of. I'm taking care of my American. You have German.
I have Germans and Americans both, but for the German stuff, I only have Fallschirmjägers. Is the only actual German infantry I have. So I end up playing them as virtually everything, but I need to rectify that here in the near future. But
Okay.
so you'll be seeing the same miniatures as you saw during the Bagration campaign, which is by Fallschirmjägers. But I may be playing them as Volksgrenadiers or Panzerlehr guys or whatever else.
Right. Or you can just come over and just use my stuff, and I'll have everything set up. All I have to do is jump right on it because everything's set up.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll do some games over here too.
Yeah, true. Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It depends.
Well, we can. I'm sure our listeners can wait to hear which side we choose later. No sense for us to continue to debate it here. So, any other major comments about the Bulge Aces campaign deck?
Oh no, I'm just really excited about wanting to get started on it.
Yeah, well, we did have a great time. As far as I know, you and I might be one of the only people that actually had gone through it. Yeah, that it's a great.
Locally.
It's a great. Yeah, I mean, hopefully locally for sure that we know of. I mean, there may have been hundreds of thousands of whoever out there in the field. But if you haven't tried one of the Aces campaign, if you got a primary gaming buddy like Ed and I are a primary gaming partners, so if you got someone, especially in this COVID time, you don't want to get out to big events, and you want to just kind of put together some battles that have a little bit more than just a random pickup game, a little bit more of a theme, kind of a continuing narrative to them. Then these Aces campaigns are pretty awesome. We had a really good time with we didn't do the D-Day one, but we did do the Bagration one. And how much did this Aces campaign deck cost? Do you recall?
Oh yeah, I got the box. Good question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
good.
It's not cheap. It's $19.99.
Yeah. Okay. So $19, $20. But out of that, we got 8 really fun dynamic games. So that's probably if you break it down per game. If you're not going to use it, then maybe it's not worth it. Doesn't add much to it. But if you're going to use it, it's going to add a lot to your gaming value. So I think that's probably a good deal. And it's a pretty thick card deck. So good deal. All right. Well, any other comments you want to make about the Bulge campaign deck, Aces campaign deck?
No, I think that's it. Just that I'm looking forward to get going on it.
So our next podcast, hopefully the readers will be able, or listeners will be able to provide them a summary of our first game or two. Right? Yeah,
and that'll be the first game will be Breakthrough.
All right. Good deal. We just have to decide who's going to play what. Maybe we'll just flip a coin, and just go from there. And maybe this will motivate me to finally get painting on some late war German infantry that are not Fallschirmjägers.
There you go.
All right. Well, let's take another quick break, and when we come back from this next break, we're going to go over the mid-war monsters. Well, it's really more of the mid-war Africa compilation, but so let's give a quick second here, and we'll be back in a minute.
All right. Fantastic.
When it comes to paint, tools, and hobby supplies, Hard Knocks Games offers quantity and quality. We carry hundreds of hard-to-find products from brands like Ammo of MiG, Mr. Hobby, and AK Interactive. Come shop our massive selection of games, model kits, and more at 5571 North Dixie Highway, or find us online at hardknocksgames.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back from the break. So we're going to now dive into the North Africa compilation, which is being released. It's called Mid-War Forces. The North Africa Mid-War Forces Compilation is the actual, or North Africa Mid-War Forces is the actual name of the book. And this book is about to be released from Battlefront along with associated cards and command cards. And what's nice about this book overall is that it combines everything that has already been done for mid-war into one location. So for vets like Ed and I, not so much. There is some new stuff that we'll talk about here in a minute, but it's a great starting point for new players, people coming in who haven't picked up on mid-war yet. Kind of nice consolidation point. So this will be a pretty fat book, and I'm sure it's going to be a bit more expensive than the regular thin books, but it's going to be pretty expansive. So that's kind of what they're doing here with this thing, and they're doing some updates with it. So they're going to add some things like the 90th Light stuff. Remember, Ed, the 90th Light kit?
Oh, yeah.
The Dianas and 76.2 centimeter guns. Those FKs, field canons, those are now in here. So before, you could only get the 90th Light stuff by buying that expansion set, which had 3 Dianas and three guns. I think it was like a $60 or $70 box set, and that was the only way to get the cards. So now you can get those cards by getting the command decks through this. They're now actually going to be rolled up into stuff. So that's good to see. But there's not a lot of new content. It's just more things being pulled together. The only thing new are a little bit controversial, and those are the mid-war monsters. What we used to know, they're not referred to in this book at all as mid-war monsters. Nowhere in the North Africa Mid-War Forces book do you see that term, mid-war monsters. But that's what those of us who played version 3 know them as. And these are hypothetical, experimental, limited production vehicles that were used or not used depending on the vehicle. But now you have the option of bringing them in to the game, even with new formations. So with that in mind, let's dig into them. What do you say, Ed?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, let me kick off with the Germans because they're the quickest and the easiest. So the Germans, they didn't get all of the stuff that they had in the mid-war monsters in the past. They didn't get the Dickermax, they didn't get the Sturmmules, they didn't get the Panzer 1Fs or the 88.8 centimeter flak SLFs, the bunker flak kind of things, which makes sense because they're probably, being that there's a North Africa Mid-War Forces compilation, there'll probably be an Eastern Front Mid-War Forces compilation also. So they'll probably get their mid-war monsters. They had to spread them between the two theaters, right? They couldn't just do all in one book, I guess. Plus, a lot of that stuff was specifically East Front, like Dickermax and Sturmmules. So makes sense. So all they got for this is the Tiger P. That's it. That's the only new what you consider a mid-war monster. And we should note that these things finally bring a use to the wildcard unit. So you can get these new hypothetical vehicles either as a wild card or in some cases as a formation. For the Germans, only as a wild card. And the only option that they get in this book is the Tiger P, which basically has the same cost and same stats as the Tiger from the original Tiger 1. The only difference is it's slower, max speed of 8, but it also has a 2+ cross check. So it was as I recall, the Tiger P was a experimental diesel electric drive where it had a diesel generator and then it had electric motors. So apparently it had a lot of torque and could kind of pull itself out of holes pretty well. So they gave it a cross check at 2. But other than that, there's really not much more to say about it. It's 29 points. And I think, is that 1 point more than the original Tiger there, Ed? Is the Tiger 1?
No, I think the originals in the mid-war were 29 also.
Okay, so you get a different looking model. The Tiger P is distinctive, has the same turret, but the hull layout is very different. It has the same hull basically as the Ferdinand. And so you can get that model on the board and now have slightly different stats. Slower, better cross check. But I don't think this is a something that people are going to rush to. It's not going to affect the game at all. Really, it's just basically another way to get a Tiger on the table. And there's plenty of ways to do that already. Before we depart from the Germans, I will say one more thing, though. They I already mentioned now they've added the Dianas and the field cannon, the 6.2 centimeter guns for the 90th Light formations. They also added the Bison. And the Bison is now in there as just a support unit, and it was missing in the earlier. You could basically proxy a grill, as a not a grill. What was the 150 self-propelled gun? That the Germans had?
You would ask me now. Okay.
The Schlepper, the Lorraine Schlepper. You could just use a couple of Lorraine Schleppers as stand-ins for these Bisons, but now they actually have the Bison as a separate card. So that's nice. Another little addition that was a surprise, and I'm glad they did that. And it's a really cool model. And if you're doing an Africa Corps force, it's just such a unique, fun vehicle to have in there. You could have, like I said, proxied a Lorraine Schlepper in the past as a pair of these, but now you can add these in, and they only come in pairs because they're basically an infantry support unit. So
that's correct.
In any case, and they're only 7 points a pop. So you can get unit of 2 for 7 points, and so that's pretty cool. Of course, it's only 2, so that's reroll misses. But it's presumably Battlefront will release this model. Of course they will. That's why they're adding it in. So I'm sure I'm going to pick this up just because I have Africa Corps stuff, and I would like to have that vehicle for my forces. Yep. So that's it for the Germans. So Ed, why don't you tell us about the Italians?
Okay, the Italians finally, as you know, in the version 3, they had some of these things already printed out there, and so the Italians, for those who had Italians, the P-2640 uh, medium tank, they call it a heavy tank here. I guess it's heavy for Italians, but it's more
Yeah.
of a medium tank.
Yeah, it's basically a Sherman with a little bit less armor.
Basically, yeah. And so that was it. And it was just the updated gun on that, giving it an AT-10 possibility there. But yeah, those were pretty cool. This is going to make the Italians really happy here. And so it's got the same capabilities as all the Italians, where you have the elite type unit. It does give you some better factors in there. But it's nice to have this in there. And they do have a formation that you can get a heavy tank company, and in which case you'll have your headquarters P-26 there. And then you have the potential in your formations in the 2 black units there. You can either be the P-2640, or you could have the Semaventi Long. And so the 750 Long is the long 75 as opposed to the short 75, and that we already have. And so now with the long 75, you still get the with the long 75, you still get the AT-10 there for direct fire, but it still allows.
Yeah.
It's still
it upgrades the it was AT-8 for the short 75. Now it goes up to 10 for the long barrel.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's
and it loses the heat. It doesn't have the heat value on it. So it
doesn't have the heat value. That's correct. And so, but it does still allow you to have the bombardment capability. And so there
I
you
was
go.
surprised by that.
And extra range on that. So it goes up to 64 inches. And so
and a longer direct fire range too. It goes up to 28 inches. So very cool. And as with all times, these guys have great remounts, right? 2+ remounts. No matter what level they roll up, they're careful. They're hard to hit. So these are some pretty stout little vehicles.
Yep, very basic vehicle. That's how it gets its easy remount, and and that's it's going to be a good addition. They were there, and so they did have them in numbers, and so
the actual use. This is one of the ones. The P-2640 was actually produced. Never made it to Africa. Was used briefly in parts of Italy, and I think the Germans captured a bunch of them when the Italians flipped sides, and so they did get produced. They were out there. Also, the Semavente Long, which would be the Semavente DA75/34 for the actual nomenclature, those certainly existed. Again, never made it to Africa, but they were used in the peninsular, the later Italian campaigns, and these were made good use of by Germans. They captured the hell out of these. And used them in Fallschirmjäger Sturmgeschütz brigades and the 116th. I think, or there was a Panzer Grenadier Force in Italy that used a lot of them. And so they basically used it as a poor man's Stug. But,
and the thing is, they did when the Germans moved into Italy, they took over the factory. And the factory had already produced large numbers of the turrets of these P-26s, and so if you look in late war, 44 to 45, they turned a lot of those turrets into the what do they call those things, Tom? Where they build them into the ground and just and use the turrets for these things. And so they do have the Panther turrets, but this also in the Panzer IV turrets. But they also use the turrets from these as well in northern Italy in the defenses over the the Arno River? Anyway, and so they were still there and being operated. Yeah, very good. Another card that the Italians have that everybody's been waiting for is the card for the Semavente 90. Okay. Yeah. Which was produced primarily to assist the Italian forces in the Eastern Front against the Soviets, and a series of these were produced. But it's really nice. It has the 90mm gun, so AT-14, 3+, and has a 4 front armor, but a 0 and a 0 for side, and the top. But
yeah, it's very different from what it had in version 3.
Yes, and so it's a little different there, but it's a good addition to it because several people that had Italian forces didn't have the ability to use it yet. It was used in Sicily there, and they did have them there to use. And so now that we can actually got the card, we can actually use the models for this. So I know this is going to make a lot of people happy.
We just need the Renault 35 cards because that's what the Italians had in Sicily. Renault 35s and these. So
that's right.
Yeah, pretty interesting combination. And I think they had multiple units of these. I think they basically pushed everything they had on hand in Italy down to Sicily. And
a grand total of 26 of these were made. So 26, and yes, they were all in Sicily.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's it used to be in version 3. It had a little ammo trailer truck or track that followed along with it. So that's right. Gone. It's just a single vehicle. You can get them in units of 2, 3, or 4, and 7 points each. So front armor 4, that will help you at least with armored cars and stuff from the front. But there's no machine guns, slow firing, forward firing only, but halted the rate of fire too. And they're AT-14, with that 40-inch range, so not too shabby. Before you had the Lancia trucks, which were pretty thin. They only had like a 4+ save or something,
right?
And maybe even a 5+ save. I can't recall. And so they can get machine gunned up pretty well. These are a little bit more stout. They'll hold up fairly well, and they are. Again, like all Italians, you can even roll up to be better. They're even at their base. They are aggressive, though. Did you notice that?
I did.
On a 3+.
Yeah.
That's
well, that's typical. That's
Well,
but
typical for
it's
Italians.
designed to be. You got to get to it though. This is a long-range area denial weapon system.
Well, I'm just noting that Italians and mid-war have been 4+, and this thing is hit on 3+. So. That I guess because they're new crews, it's a new piece of kit, something along those lines. But just interesting to note that it's aggressive, and so they're only 7 points each, but they're gonna take hits. They're gonna be hit. So okay, cool. That's
really good.
So the Italians get 3 new vehicles. They also have a new formation, the quote heavy tank, really medium tank formation, and they can mix in all sorts of interesting combinations of stuff. So
you can use any armored vehicle in this heavy thing, but the commander would be the P-26 there, and so it could be a P-26 commander, a single tank, and then it could be the Semavente longs or the M1441s or the Semavente shorts. Either way, you can fill out that formation.
All right, Ed. Well, that's a good breakdown of the Italian mid-war monsters, as we're used to calling them. So are you going to be playing any of these under version 4?
Oh, yeah, definitely so. I do have the Semavente 90s, and I do have a couple. I think I only have 3 of the P-26s there. And so I still could field the heavy force and just run the other Semavente shorts and the M14s as part of the thing. So I could do that, and for the support, I could have the 90s. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the 90s would be a lot of fun in a Sicily campaign. Seeing those paired up with Renault 35s would be fun. And I actually have a 4 tank unit of the Semavente longs. I bought those when they came out in version 3, but I painted them up as German for late war Germans in Italy as captured to support my Fallschirmjägers. So they have German markings on them, and I guess I could still bring them in as a support or something. That's pretty good. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the Brits then. I played a lot of Brits in late war and mid war, and they are getting an armored assault squadron. So, and this was a big surprise to me. They're able to take the T-14, the American T-14, in addition to the Churchill gun carrier, 3-inch, the hull-mounted 3-inch gun, and they got a few other, new mid-war monsters too. So it was interesting. They can get that armored assault squadron. It can take the T-14 as a headquarters or Churchill. headquarters, and then it can take units that have either T-14s or Churchill Armored Assault Troop. And the Churchill Armored Assault Troop is when you take a 3-tank Churchill unit, but one of the Churchills is swapped out for one of the 3-inch gun carriers. And so it gives you a little bit of variation in kind of platoons you can run. And you can also get a full troop of those. But it's interesting, if you're going to try to get the full troop of just all 3-inch gun carriers, it has to be one of your non-black box choices, so or a wild card unit. So you have to have already put in a lot of points into some very heavy tanks before you even get to that. So not likely you're going to see the Churchill, the full 3-inch gun troop supporting the Armored Assault Squadron. It's going to be very expensive. I didn't do any points count it, but I can just tell you it's going to be way up there. And the Churchill 3-inch gun carrier is pretty interesting. And I do have a box of these, still unopened from version 3. Mm-hmm. I never did anything with them. And so I guess I'll break them out and paint them up and run them with my Churchills.
Yeah, I've got them. I got them, and they're painted up and ready to go.
Yeah, it's kind of an ugly looking thing, isn't it? It's like a Churchill Arv with a little box on the top. but it pretty much has the same stats as far as armor and speed and everything. Well, it only goes 10 inches, and it still has the 2+ cross. And the gun is only AT-11, so kind of a letdown, not AT-12 with a 32-inch range. And they come in at 11 points, 14 points each, which that's 3 points more than normal Churchill. And I guess the best thing would be to mix them in with the normal Churchills to give you some more longer range, higher firepower, 3+ firepower to make up with a 4+ firepower. So the T-14s I'll jump into now, even though this is an American vehicle, because it's lend-lease, I guess, into the British here, and which was a big surprise to me. They are speed of 10, cross 3+, front armor 6, and side 7 and top 2. And what's nice is because they're British, they're careful, so they're only hit on 4+. Training only 4+, and they're confident, and then but a 3+ to counterattack. So they're really happy to re-assault infantry or guns and what have you. The 13 points a pop, and so they're you're going to cover the Americans here shortly, but they're 3.5 points more per tank than the American counterpart. So that gets you the better skill rating, the train instead of the green, and it gives you the better hit on 4+. But that's still pretty expensive, a 3.5 point increase per tank. So, but it's neat, good to have options. I just was surprised they added it in here with the Brits, being it was an American vehicle. And we get the TOG, right? Everybody's got to have a TOG. Probably the most ridiculous looking tank of World War II. Big old giant freight train car looking thing. And but it does have a 17-pounder, which is only AT-12 in mid-war for this version. Its armor is 5.52, front, side, and top. Hit on 4+, so still careful, still trained, so still relatively reasonable. But they're only 9 points apiece. So that's they don't have the heavy armor, but for mid-war, that's pretty good armor, 5.52. So I think at 9 points apiece, these are probably going to be some of the more popular of the British mid-war monsters. Plus, they're TOGs, right?
Right.
Yeah. You got some TOGs, right, Ed?
I do. I got the box of 3. Haven't broken it open yet, though.
Yeah, I had a box and I sold it to a guy in Australia before I knew that the mid-war monsters would be coming out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where I picked that TOG box set up at. Probably a trade or something. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so neat vehicle, 2+ cross check, slow, only 8 inches, and it'll be an interesting ad. And like the T-13 or T-14 assault tank, it has a really good counterattack. It's a 3+ to go in, but still only trained skill for hitting. So interesting, and it's got that. Is that the same turret that they had later on the Challenger?
Yes.
Yeah. So that big giant rivets and slab-sided things with the 17-pounder in it. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that'd be kind of fun vehicle. And 9 points, I think that's pretty reasonable. They'll scare tigers. It won't stand up as well as tigers or other things, but it will hold up well against all the swarms of light tanks. That 5 armor all around will keep. You're not worried about being flanked by the L6s or the the Stuarts and the Cromwells of the Crusaders of the world. so they can swarm around you happily. And for 9 points, you can sit there and pop out AT 12 shots, two per turn.
Yeah.
So good vehicle. And then the last for the British they had was the armored car, the Boarhound.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boarhound armored car. It's kind of cool. I mean, it has scout and spearhead, so that's useful. It's careful. It's a veteran for skill, but only assaults on a 4, being an armored car. It's confident, but like all other armored cars, the last stand is not that great. It's a 5+, and like all other armored cars, the counterattack is pretty low. But it's pretty heavy armor. It's 4-3 armor. Slow, only speed of 8, and it cross a 5+. So this is going to be horrible for getting into woods and stuff.
Right.
And then it has the standard 57 millimeter, the British 6-pounder gun, the AT-10 firepower 4+, range of 28, no HE.
Yeah.
So, but they're cheap, 4 points, relatively cheap. Although 4 points is like 1 point less than an entire troop of Crusaders. So, so it's a little bit pricey, I think, for what it does.
But it has the survivability of the armored cars that the other armored cars don't have, and that's.
This will dominate the armored car, the counter recon battle. It's just a beast as far as armored cars go. But you're going to have to spend at least 8 points to get 2 of them, and 12 points to get 3, and then 16 points to get 4 of them. So. They probably have a place, and they have as much armor as a, just a little bit less than, 4-3, not too bad. Top is only a 0. I'm surprised they gave it a top 0 because it's, fully armored. It's, pretty stout looking turret.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit susceptible to artillery. I mean, it's not an open top vehicle. So,
it's not. That's why I was surprised that it was a 0. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess almost all armored cars they gave a 0. I don't know. Maybe it's just super thin armor or something. But I kind of like the look of it. I mean, it's a big old hefty 8-wheel vehicle with a kind of a nice sleek looking turret on it, and the 6-pounder gun mounted in it, or 57 millimeter. So it'd be interesting ad. I don't plan to add to my mid-war monsters. I will paint the Churchill gun carriers I have, and I'll probably just leave it at that. I'm not that super enthusiastic really about diving into mid-war monsters. I guess they're a little bit controversial, so we'll save that to the end of the discussion though. Let's go ahead, Ed, and what other, Ed, so you got the TOGs. What else do you have for British? I
do have the Churchill 3-inch guns, and they're painted up, but those are the only ones I have. I don't have the Boarhounds, and although as cool as it looks, it has that that post-war look, and it does. It looks, and it does have the capability of anti-tank capability with the AT-10 6-pounder there. So it may be just worth the 4 points. Plus you got the scout. Plus you have the spearhead, and that way you got a little firepower when you shoot out there. So yeah.
And I agree with you. I think it very much has that later Panhard, the 1950s Panhard kind of look. The big French armored cars. Looks very much like one of those. So probably where they got the idea, I suppose. So cool. All right. Well, let's rock and roll to the United States. So what do we got there, Ed?
Well, the U.S. starts out in the thing with the M27, which is a modification. It's another model of the M26, but a lighter armored version of it. And I think it's pretty cool. And the Americans have it in a whole M27 tank company. And so it doesn't say heavy tank company because it's not a heavy tank. And so that's what, just looking at it, it looks like a heavy tank, but it's not. Okay. When I take a look at the stats on this thing, it is a little bit up armored in the front with the 7 front armor, and it has the 5 side and 1 top. And movement is pretty good. It's not that bad. It's got the regular 10 tactical. It's got 14 terrain, 20 cross country, and just 24 on the road. And it does have a 3+ cross. The thing is with these, although they're confident, they are skill of a green. So a 5+. And this is going to be
aggressive. They're hit on 3s also.
And hit on 3s. But that armor in mid-war with a 7, it's good survivable kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it has a 76 millimeter gun. with stabilizer, so it can sit back at far range and hand out the
Yep.
shots.
Yeah,
So it's
36-inch range, AT-12, and it's a two-shot. Yeah, with stabilizer, you're going to take the modification on moving, but yeah, really worth it. How much does it cost per each? It costs 11 points each, so it's going to be very expensive. So you're going to, when you have the assault tank company, well, no, excuse me, not the assault tank company, the M27 tank company, you got to field at least two of the black things like you always do, black platoons. And so how many tanks does it come in each platoon? Well, let me check this.
It's 2, 3, 4, 5. Same as same
Okay,
organization
yeah.
as 2, 3, 4, 5, just like any other American platoon.
Like any other American. I wasn't sure if they got the fifth one, but yeah. But I mean, 55 points for a full platoon. but that's going to be pretty good, and you have to field 2 platoons of these at least. So if you have just 2 in there, okay, then that's fine. So you're going to have a minimum of 5 tanks in a M27 tank company.
Yeah, if you're going to go for the formation, I see these more being used as a black box support option.
Yes.
With take 4 of them for 44 points. Boom, there you got your reserves. They come rolling on with stabilizers, with AT-12, and tearing things up in pretty good armor from front and rear to front and side to taking going. And one thing I really like about these is that I mean, I used to be really big into World of Tanks, and one of the premium tanks was the T-23. Which was probably one of my best running tanks. I think it was a tier 7. And you would run around and it had a super high rate of fire, and you just run around and get good flank shots, and it was pretty fast and kind of a low vehicle. And that's basically what this vehicle is. It's basically that.
Yeah, the T-23 and the T-27 are very similar. Very
I think
similar.
they're just slight modifications between them. So I kind of dig it. I'd like to, if I was going to buy any of these, I think this would be the one I probably would purchase just because of a cool factor. Maybe some T-14s too. So speaking of which, what do we got for it?
The T-14s. The T-14s, as you mentioned, were also available for the British force there as well. Just like a Sherman, we gave them the Shermans to use, and same thing with the T-14s. That makes sense there. I can't tell you how much we actually gave them on these things, but in reality,
none. This is all hypothetical.
yeah, and so, and so not many. But if we had produced them, the British would have got them also. So there you go. Did you talk about the armor values on these things?
Yeah, I think I did. But the big difference here is these guys are a lot cheaper. They're only 9.5 points each. Right. So that's only a point and a half more than a standard mid-war Sherman.
There you go. And for so much more there, you're going to get the 7.62 armor. And, just survivability alone is worth it. And yes, you can have 5 and
the high counterattack.
You know what? I didn't see that, but yes, you are correct. It's the 3+.
Yeah, all these heavy tanks have that 3+ counterattack, so they're pretty good for sticking in with infantry. The problem is it's green, so it has to stick in to actually get kills, right?
Yes.
But the good news is it's got 2+ top armor, so unless they got panzerknackers or gut bombs or whatever, not much chance you're going to suffer damage in a melee against infantry with these things. So they're cool little, looks like a big beetle, big side armor coming all the way down to the bottom of the tracks. And I remember also in World of Tanks shooting the gun mantlet on the machine gun mantlet in the front hull. I don't know, that was the weak spot. You'd keep shooting, you try to shoot right at that hull machine gun, and the rounds would go right through. So anyway, it was a cool looking little design. And then that brings us up to the Big Daddy.
Yeah, the Big Daddy here, and so this is the M6 heavy tank, and it's huge. It just looks like a beast, and with an 8.52 armor, it is, but still hit on the 3+. And yes, it's green, and confident with the counterattack variable here. Now, I noticed that in your article you mentioned that at the time this was posted. It did have a 3 rate of fire, moving and halted and stabilized with the 3-inch gun AT-12. But since then, we heard that no, that's not going to be the case, and so it's going to be it's going to be a 2.2, correct?
Yeah, it's going to be reduced. It's not going to have that rate of fire 3 for the main gun, and probably not for the 37 either. They're probably both going to go down to 2.2. So
right.
Pretty funny.
That's the other cool.
That.
Yeah, the other cool thing is it has that 37 on there. I don't know how often you're going to use the 37, and why
real situational.
Yeah, and so I'm wondering, Tom, does it have the 2-gun capability like the Char Bs do, or even with the Grants and the Lees? And so does it have the -1 modifier on the second gun for the main gun?
That'd be cool if it did, but it's in the same turret and it's slave to the same sight system. So I'm going to guess no. And the only reason I would see you would fire that 37 millimeter gun is if you were trying to shoot at infantry beyond 16 inches, because the main gun would have a no HE, and they'd have to be infantry in the open, not dug in. So that's about the only useful thing you'll get out of it is shooting at infantry beyond 16 inches that it's not dug in. So very, very, very rare that you're going to do. Heck, you'd shoot the 50 cals at it then. The 50 cal shoot out to 20 inches. So really, you'd only shoot it at infantry between 20 inches and 24 inches. It's really a very narrow window of usefulness to have that thing. Yeah. If they did make it cool. If you could fire it alongside of the main gun also, and so you could be shooting at heavy tanks and light tanks simultaneously, it would be worth it. But it's I don't think that's going to be the case.
I don't think it's going to be the case also.
Nah, but it's only 12.5 points, and it's only a wild card unit. It's not in any formation, so it's always just going to be a support kind of thing. But for 12.5 points, I think it's a better deal than the Churchill 3-inch gun carrier at 13 points. You've got the better armor, better gun, got stabilizer. You got this, all 50 cals. You got the only difference is being hit on. The hit on 4s versus hit on 3s, and then the skill. Other than that, I think this is a much better deal.
Yeah, so. and you can get 5 of them in there at 5 at 12.5 points each is 62.5 points. For your thing, if you wanted to fully get a beast there, it's going to take up the majority of your thing. But you can. You're right. It's a wild card, and you can throw it in there. Yeah,
cool.
All right, and the last American vehicle here is the American Armored Car Recon called the T-55 Interceptor Tank Destroyer, and it has the same wheel chassis as the Boarhound, but it has the American 3-inch gun on there with the AT-12 firepower. So you could incorporate these in with the tank destroyer type units like the M10s they put into the mid-war capability for the Americans. So it can be used in there. It has a 0.00 as far as armor, and so it is very lightweight. It does have a good better tactical movement capability because of that. So it has a regular 10-inch tactical, has 10-inch terrain, 16 cross country, and of course a 36 road, just like the Boarhound. But it's and I think the Boarhound also has a 5+.
It did. It had that crappy cross. Yep. It was slower though. The Boarhound was only 10 in speed, or 8.
Yeah, and that's because of its armor. It got up armored. This one did not. And it does have a 50 cal on here as well.
This is wafer thin armor, like the Universal Carrier.
Yeah. Yep, that's it.
But
that's it.
The price can't for getting a AT-12 gun on the board.
Yep, 5 points.
Yep, that's and I already know some very good players who are saying this is the one thing that they will add. 20 points for a unit of 4. They have the tank destroyer seek, strike, and destroy rules, so they can do the blitz up, shoot, and fall back, and they're trained, so 50-50 chance of that happening.
Yes.
And so, but it is a feature. But this is a really good ambush unit. Ambush, shoot and scoot out of the way, move back around, get another shot or two. not stabilized. But yeah, this is the only thing that scares me about this is just being shot up by machine guns. I mean, Armor Zero, man, just you get hosed by machine guns, especially being hit on threes, and all those German armored cars are just going to eat these things alive with their AT-5 guns, and their just the L6s. So in mid-war environment, these are a great ambush unit. They're relatively, I think they're cheaper than just an AT, a straight up AT-12 gun. I mean, just so they can shoot, I come out of ambush, pop off those 8 shots, and then, try to shoot and scoot away and live to fight another day. Or maybe they just do all their damage in one volley and then they die. They knock out a tiger or two, and then they paid for themselves, right? Coming out of ambush.
That's right.
But you're going to have to protect them because, there's still the swarm meta in mid-war, and the L6s, Crusaders, Honeys will, be right up on you pretty darn quick. And so that Armor Zero is not going to hold out, and they're aggressive. So if they were cautious and hit on 4+, like most tank destroyers should probably be, they would have been really awesome. Of course, they've been too cheap then for 5 points. So we'll see. This is the one I predict that you'll see the most use of in certainly in the American forces. Can't pass up getting that much high-powered firepower, for that price. It just
right now that unit, it comes as a wild card unit, or what? How is it, or it can be incorporated as another option in a M10 unit?
It's only a wild card unit. It's only a wild card, and I was thinking that it would have been cool if it could have been swapped out for an option in the M10 unit, but it cannot.
Yeah. Now, that wild card unit, is it only in an M10 formation or any American
any U.S. formation can take a wild card.
Okay. All right. Good.
It's that wild card box that's been there for 4 years.
That we
had no idea what it's for, but now we know. So that brings us to the controversy. So what do you have for U.S. before you have any of these things already?
I don't have any of these, but I think I am definitely going to get the M27 box when it comes out.
Oh, good. I can see what it looks like and then decide if I want to get them.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the one I like too. I like the M27. I guess the Boarhound makes sense, but actually I have no mid-war Americans. I mean, I suppose I can run my late war Americans as mid-war and give that a shot. And I guess you could use the Boarhound or this T-55 Interceptor model as I guess you could just proxy it as a model as an M10 for late war, just for something cool looking on the board. But just for fun, But anyways, there are some neat models. They'd be fun to build. They're really interesting, and but the controversy. There's a lot of people that are totally against these because they're non-historical. Although some like the some of the 90s on the Sicily, you need to have them. Right.
And they did use them. Yes.
Yeah. So some are the Tiger P. Did actually get used in extremely limited numbers. I think it was like the headquarters tank in a Ferdinand unit or something.
That is correct.
Yeah. So these aren't all totally fanciful, but they're all low production. And when we get to the East Front, we have the Stur Emils and Dicker Maxes. They existed. Yeah. Again,
you also have the whatever. Yep, that's right. Yeah. And you also have the upgraded Panzer One heavy armored Panzer One scout cars or scout tanks. So I do have 5 of those.
Ugh. All right. Well, we'll have to wait for the East Front to review those. But some folks will, some folks balk at these. For me, I think if you want to play historical, you play historical. It's not a problem. And then people say, well, what if I go to a tournament and I'm forced to play these? Well, then don't go to that tournament. If there's going to be mid-war, they're going to allow things, and you can make your choice. You can just decide. So I'm all for. I prefer historical by far. But I'm not opposed to having these thrown in, and I'm not even opposed to seeing them in tournaments. And it's not going to break my day. Like I said, if I see a T-55 Interceptor, okay, fine. It's really just an M10 with some weird stats. I don't really need to get too wrapped around the axle about things. I just once I start throwing dice, I stop caring about stuff like that. Anyways, like blue on blue. I mean, that's the thing. Flames of War, unless you're going to a red on blue event, historically themed, like at our upcoming Wolfcraig, right? We've got red on blue, and Americans can't use things like Pershings and Chaffies. Maybe they can use Chaffies, I'm not sure. But, it's limited to the kit that would have been there. And so, people will set up events. So if you're worried about these showing up, but you're going to an open event where you can be playing blue on blue, I mean, what's the deal? I mean, if you could end up having Americans fighting Brits on a snowboard, then what is your concern about these? Right? So I don't get
Finns in the desert.
I don't get the angst that people have. I understand wanting to play historical, but I don't see why this keeps you from doing that in any way, shape, or form. I just, war gamers like to whine about stuff, so it's just another thing for some to whine about. But I think they're fine. I'm glad that Battlefront gave them the options. I know some people are just in love with the TOG and some of these weird options out there. So I don't think they're harmful overall to the game or the game community or anything like that. So that's just the way that it is. So what are your thoughts on it, Ed?
I like having the option. It was out there though, if playing the what if. But I agree. If you're going to go to a tournament, the person running the tournament needs to announce that, hey, they're acceptable or not ahead of time, to avoid those issues that some people may have.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I wouldn't be have events that require them. We've seen those in the past in version 3. There were mid-war monster tournaments. You had to have at least one mid-war monster unit in your your force. So let people do what they want. If it's not your cup of tea, no problem. Just skip, go to the next event. Here's an idea. How about you run an event? If you don't like to run mid-war monsters or have these things on the table, but
then run historical
themes. You do step up, organize an event, run it. Let other people have fun with it. You can just TO it, and then and then maybe one of them will reciprocate for you later on, running the kind of event that you'd like to run. Like a red on blue, purely historical theme event. So so just cooperate. Don't. And if you opt not to play them, fine. Just don't make a big stink about it. It's not big of a deal. Just options and fun, and bring enjoyment to some people. So if it doesn't bring enjoyment to you, no big deal. Just don't just ignore them. Just don't let them ruin your day and get in the way of otherwise good gaming, because you can certainly get tons of it by avoiding these. So cool. All right, any other thoughts on the new additions to the mid-war compilation?
Yeah, I like the fact that they are bringing it in there, and I'm looking forward to the East Front one when they also bring in the German stuff and the Soviet stuff. You got the KV3s and the KV5s there that they can put in there. So, I'm looking forward to it.
The only thing that I'm kind of been out about is, and I guess I should be, is that in order to get the cards for these, I'm going to have to rebuy the decks. So I'm going to have to buy like I won't bother rebuying the German decks just to get the Tiger P. That's not, but if I really want the cards, unless I want to print them or something from off of Forces, then, if I want the T14 cards, I'd have to buy a deck of cards, which really only has, British mid-war, the new release set of cards, which only has everything I already have, in addition to like a few of these special cards. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm buying a 100 card deck to only get 3 new cards. So that's a little bit of a downer. But on the other hand, for the Italians, I never had the Italians. I never got my Italian cards. I don't have any Italian stuff. I had been planning to do Italians, and so now I can go ahead and get the Italian card deck and have not just the Avante stuff, but also the airborne guys, and then all these mid-war monsters added in. So I get a complete set of those.
I've got East Front Italians, and I've got the North African and Sicily Italians. So I got them all.
You're more Italian than
I have so many Italians, and I need to play them more.
I like playing against them.
There was something else I was going to say. No, I forgot. Never mind.
Yeah,
I forgot.
All right. So speaking of that, you got any rules Ed forgot, or any things that have come up in the past?
As far as rules Ed forgot, I did not. I know there was one that I ran into in my last tournament with Team Yankee, but I don't remember what it was, but I'll remember sometime. But anyway, I just remember the other thing that I was going to talk about a minute ago. And so in the boxes, when we buy these new figures, is the card? I'm assuming the card is going to come in the box.
Yeah.
So if I bought the
I'm
box,
sure that's the case.
27s, I'm sure I'm going to get a card. Yes.
Yeah, if you buy a new box set, if you buy an old one that's been on the shelf for 4 years, then no. But or
Right.
get one on eBay or something. But yeah, no, if you're getting one of the newer box releases, I'm sure the models will come with the cards. If
Yes,
so,
okay.
yeah, if we're going to get the T26s, we will get the cards with those. So yeah, good point on that. The only ones that really kind of, like, I have the 3-inch gun carriers.
Yeah, me too.
If I wanted the actual official card, I would have to buy a whole new set of American or British card deck just to get that one card, or buy more models of them, which is an option. But I don't really think I could use more than 3 of them. But so yeah, it's just a little bit. But worst case to worst, I just go to Forces and do a screen capture and put the card, put it in a sleeve, and it's fine enough just to play for a game or two. For as often as we're going to use these things,
Yeah.
So not a big deal. Yeah. So speaking of rules, the only thing that I haven't played much lately, I did play a game yesterday, by the way. And by the way, we took a break on Saturday, so now it's Sunday, and we have some other results from LVO for the Flames of War portion. We'll talk about here in a second. But I did go play John Mullins, new player from up in Indiana, came down, and we just did a simple encounter game. I didn't want to get too crazy about rules and ambushes and stuff like that, so we just did a counter game, and we had a pretty bloody draw. So we had a great time playing Brits and against my Fallschirm Makers. So that was cool. So I at least got a game in finally, and then also I saw some discussion about the rules, and this goes to the American Bulge book. So the Americans now have a kind of a pack front card. I forgot what it's called, but it allows them to put their guns, their towed 76 millimeter guns or towed 57 millimeter guns into a nest, just like the German pack front. So that's cool. But they're not on turntables. So the 88s, they're on turntables. So there's no problem with them spinning around and shooting in any direction. So people didn't know, can the American guns, are they fixed pointing one way, or can they move and shoot, or can they rotate, should I say? And yes, they can rotate. So you can move them in the moving step, rotate them as necessary. They still can't move out of that position, but you can rotate that position to face where it needs to face, counting as moving, so reducing your rate of fires. And you can also, if it's in your front 180, it also rotates in the shooting step too. So yes, it is, you just basically, it does spin around and let the gun shoot. So it makes it a little bit more useful to have those things that, you don't have to worry about. I mean, people can still get behind you and assault you from the side or the rear. That can still happen, fast tanks or something, but, from a distance, you're not just totally stuck with one avenue to look down. You can rotate them and pay the penalty for losing a rate of fire to do so, or rotate them in the shooting step as necessary, as that works out. So that's the only kind of rules update I have. So we go into upcoming events. Oh, and how about we cover Las Vegas Open first? What do you think about that? Yeah, so I got these. Bear with me as I pull these up. Charlie Clay kept me up to speed for these. So the top 5 at LVO, this was the late war event. Number 5 was John Cederberg, who I think was 5 for the Team Yankee event too. And he was playing Germans, probably pack front and Panzer Grenadiers. Number 4 was Vincent Arroyo, playing Germans, also probably with pack front. And Vincent, do you recall, he was our first interview we did?
Yeah, right.
Yep. Number 3 was the winner from the Team Yankee event, Keith Gilmore, playing Germans, which surprises me. I thought he played Brits in late war, but I guess he at least has some Germans, and I'm going to say he probably had the pack front. So far we're German, 4 or 5, 4, 3. And then number 2, Jacob Meyer, and you're going to love this. Jacob Meyer, the tough hombres down in Texas. He came in second, and guess what he was playing, Ed?
No. Shoot.
What would you love to see from late war go right to the top?
Fins.
Yes, fins. You're accurate. Yeah, so he came in second place playing Finns. So there you go. It
No
can be done.
kidding. I don't believe it. Okay.
Yeah, and he won all 3 of his games. He had 6 points, 7 points, and 8 points. So
I'll be darned.
nice continuous improvement there. And then
Mhm.
coming in at first place, another surprise, not because of the player, but because of his playing. So Tim McClellan came in first overall at Las Vegas Open last night, and he ended up with US. So
Well, I'll be
and
darned.
again, yeah, I've only ever seen him play Germans in Flames of War before, and
Mhm.
so yeah, so he also was in the top 5 for Team Yankee the day before. So he was in the top 5 the day before. Keith Gilmer was in the top 5 the day before, and so was John Cederberg. So out of the top 5 positions, 3 of them were in the top 5 for both days. So congratulations to those guys. Glad the event went well. Hope you all had a lot of fun. And heard there was some controversy with the on Facebook about the Best Coast Pairings app that was being used. A lot of players from the same club being matched up against each other. The Cederbergs had to play each other, John and his son.
Right.
It's just so there was a lot of kind of weird stuff going on, and maybe some other inconsistencies or something. But I don't think too many people were happy with the way that the Best Coast Pairings app was being used at that event. So what do we got coming up in the future there, Ed? You ready to go over those?
Oh yeah, we got quite a bit on here actually, and so we've already rounded out the January stuff here. So looking at February, we've got 4 events, and on February 19th, we got Melee at Shiloh in Fayetteville, Arkansas. That's a possible one that I may go to meet Charlie Clay down there.
Okay.
He's always traveling up here to meet us. I may go down there. It's a good long drive, but it might be time for a field trip.
Okay.
Let's see. We got and that'll be 100. What is that? It's a late war 110-3 round. Okay. And so we got Dreamers Vault games there in Minneapolis, of course. And this is going to be a Team Yankee 74 pointer. And that's going to be interesting. 74 points, yeah. Okay, yeah, I like that idea. We got, again, also on February 19th, the Vault Gaming Lounge there in Felton, Delaware, has a late war 100-pointer. And
Pete Zerfy running that, no doubt.
Okay. In here, I see on the notes, it says Army Box. What are we talking about there, Tom?
Yeah, I think you have to include like all the contents of an Army box. So you have to buy. It has your base. I don't think you have to go and buy it, but you basically have to have the same contents of what is in one of those starter Army boxes. So the American, British, Russian, German. So that has to at least include all the models from an Army box. Not to say you have to go and buy an Army box.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to replicate it. What a great idea to spur sales. I dig it. That's good for the game store. Good for the hobby. Just get, and it lets people try something different. If you only ever played Americans, well, now here, give some Germans a shot. So kind of a cool idea.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that idea. The last one on February 19th we got is Game Table Adventures there at Newark, Ohio. That's a Team Yankee 94 pointer.
All right.
All right. And so
probably John Meyer probably running that.
Probably, yeah. And so we got February 26th, we got the Forge Hobbies and Games there in Houston playing a mid-war 105 pointer. Now I wonder if that's going to include the mid-war monsters there. So
if the book's out by then.
Already have them. Yeah, for those who already have them, are they going to incorporate them into the thing? So that'd be a question.
I'm going to guess not, because it's probably, if they're even available by then, it's probably too early. I mean, we won't see these until just about the time that event occurs. Will they show up in the game stores? So, and later, depending on shipping issues. But
okay, that's all we have for February. So that's it. So we got plenty of stuff coming up in March. On March 4th, we got Game Table Adventures. They're also in Newark, Ohio. It's a Team Yankee 70 pointer. And then also on the following day, they also are running a late war 110 point tournament as well. So 2 back-to-back, one on each day.
And to make note, these 2 events March 4th and 5th, the reason they're having 2 of those back to back is because they're making up for the cancellations from CincyCon. Remember, these were the exact events that CincyCon was supposed to include on that exact weekend. But for whatever reason, CincyCon, I don't know if CincyCon was canceled or if the guy that was running it, I think, which was probably Carl Tier, decided, they want to go to a convention. He's, maybe got some concerns about.
I think they canceled the whole thing because they did my PayPal. They did refund me. So, and I was going to go Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So,
did they refund you for the whole convention or just for the tournaments?
Well, I know I've been getting refunds.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure CincyCon was canceled, but I do know that the Team Yankee and Flames War event were canceled. So
right,
I'm glad you got your money back.
Yeah,
and that's so that might be good cause to do an overnighter. Leave early on the 4th and
that's definitely an overnighter. But
it would definitely be a long, it's like 5-hour drive too for us. So something to consider.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What do we got? Where to leave off? We got
March 5th.
March 5th also. We got Coast Con, which is at Biloxi, Mississippi, and that's a mid-war 105 pointer. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I don't know if I've ever seen a tournament held in Biloxi, Mississippi before.
I have not. Yeah.
So that's good. That's probably an indicator new gaming areas opening up. So, or at least infiltrating a new con down there. So that's good.
Yeah. I'm interested. I wonder I got to check out the distance to that one. All right. So now we got our big event here. This is the Hard Knocks Games Wolf Craig, which is going to be a 2-day event on the 12th and 13th of March. And this is going to be a 100-point, 5-round Bulge themed event. Red on blue.
Red versus blue. They can have Brits, Americans, and Germans. And the Germans, I don't think there's too many limitations. But the Americans cannot use Pershings. I'm not sure about Chaffies, but definitely not Pershings. And
I'm pretty sure Chaffies should be available. Chaffies should be available.
I think the Brits have to omit the Churchills and all crocodiles, whether Sherman crocodiles or for anybody. So there's no flamethrower crocodiles. Although I guess you could have your Wasp. So there's some limitations. If you're going to go to that, you definitely want to talk to Chad Underdonk at the Hard Knocks Games and find out. I think you're clear to play pretty much anything German at this time that's been released. But for the Americans and Brits, there's a little bit of curtailing, particularly on the new U.S. stuff because of the Pershings and then the German book's not out. Right, the Germans don't have their Bulge book yet, so they don't have Yankee Panthers, King Tigers, and such. So, anyways, a great event though. It's a full weekend, 5 rounds. That's what we've always done, and we've always done red on blue. And Chad will be TOing that, so it's always a highlight for us. So, if you get a chance to come out and join Ed and I at Elizabethtown, Kentucky, and the gang, we'd love to see you there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and of course we have the Adepticon, which is in March, starting on the 25th. We have this in where is it? Schaumburg, Illinois. There, and so that first event on the 25th is going to be a Team Yankee 74.4 round event.
Right.
And so that's interesting. And then we got the weekend. We've got on the 26th and 27th. Also Adepticon, same place. This is where the Nationals are going to be, and it's going to be mid-war. Mid-war, 105 points, 6 rounds, so three rounds each day. I'm taking it, and so I'm not sure about that though. But there is a total of 6 rounds though. So 105 mid-war. So that could be a whole lot of Italians.
Yeah, that 6 rounds is correct, Ed.
So it's 3 and 3.
Yeah, 6
rounds.
3 and 3. Yeah, it's 3 and 3. It's a pretty grinding day.
And
or 2 days. So yeah, if you go there, you play Team Yankee 4 rounds on one day because that's a 1-day event, and then you follow that with so you're playing 10 rounds over 3 days. If you go to Adepticon. Hey, but one safety note. Apparently, it was announced that you must show your vaccine mandate card if you're going to go to Adepticon. So important safety note, if you're planning to go that and you're opting not to get a vaccine, you might be disappointed if you show up. So I just want to put that out there. That I don't know other events what their statuses are or requirements are, but that's been announced for Adepticon. For I guess it probably has more to do with the city of Chicago and local rules more so than the Adepticon Convention Committee's decision. But that will be a must have proof of vaccine. I'm not sure what level, like you have to have the booster or whatnot, but that is a requirement there. So if you're not interested in getting vaccinated or whatever, or getting up, whatever the case may be, I'm not gonna go deep dive into that. I'm just letting people know that if you don't have the papers, then you may not be able to get in those events. So.
And I would imagine, since it's the deal also, that mask would probably be a mandatory thing also.
I'm gonna guess so. We may see more of that as time goes on, as Omicron flares up. Las Vegas Open, from the photos I saw on Facebook, looks like mask wearing was required. I'm not sure if there's any other requirements beyond that, but certainly masks were required at a Las Vegas Open. So all right, so let's rock into April.
Yeah. Maybe we can get an update from Chris Fretz on Adepticon. He's usually heavy into that, so maybe we can talk to him and find out what the latest deal is. All right, so that wraps up March, and then in April we've got 3 on the schedule right now. We got the Card Corner Cafe, located in Overland Park, Kansas. I'm going to need to tell one of my students that's coming in from Kansas that's a Flames of War player that event's going to take place. He might want to go there. It's a mid-war 110.3 round, okay, and that's the 9th of April. The following weekend, on April 16th, we've got Rick's Cards and Games. And have we seen this already? Okay, I remember hearing about this place. Rick's Cards and Games there in Clarksville, Tennessee. And this is probably where our Fort Campbell guys are heading to. And I think this is it, because that's a Team Yankee 90-pointer, and it is going to be a red on blue. So I'm probably going to go to that one, Tom. Just give you a heads up.
We have to support that. Those guys come up to our events all the time from the Fort Campbell area, so we need to reciprocate, and hopefully they have room for us. And it's red versus blue, so we got to love that. And it's Team Yankee, so righteous.
I love it. That. I'm definitely going.
I'll bring a table. We'll put that on the agenda, I think. Okay.
And so I'm looking at April 30th now. So we got a skip of a week there. This usually falls into spring break time period. We got Third Coast Games. They're located in Friendswood, Texas. I used to live there back in 1970-71. When my dad was in Vietnam. It's south of Houston. It's a suburb of Houston. It's just on the south side of Houston.
All right. So Houston has 2 events on the calendar right now. That's cool.
Yeah. And it's going to be a Team Yankee 73 point, not a 74, but a 73 point. We're going to be different here. And so 3 rounds. And gosh, I'd like to go there just for the nostalgic reason of being back in the old neighborhood. Let's see. And then that is on the 30th of April. And that wraps up April. So we only have 3 currently on there. I'm sure we're going to probably have something at that time too. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, so let's see. Now going into May, at the end of May, it looks like it's probably a holiday weekend. I would assume that's what it is, the 28th of May. We got Rocky Top Games Con at Knoxville, Tennessee, Tom. And so this is a possible for us as well. It is going to be a red on blue. It's a late war 110. Quite possible.
And our good buddy John is running it. What's his last name? From Fort Campbell, John Pirtle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's actually
all the way
stepping up
across the state. He's actually just south of us here. So that's
he was asked to run the event, and he's coming through for it. So definitely like to support that, help bring some tables for him, and so that would be good. Plus, it's I might be able to go to this and not have it count as a trip, since my in-laws live in Knoxville. So I might be able to just bring the wife and count it as a family trip. So hopefully I can do that. And I think I thought he was doing Team Yankee also, but maybe not.
No, I'm just seeing late war on this one.
Oh yeah, that's all we see on there. I thought at one point it was going to be 2 events, but I could be hallucinating. All right, and we got one more event that we're tracking.
I like the name of this place, Fat Ogre.
Yeah, I'd fit in well
in
there.
Spring, Texas. It
So do
is
you know
not
where that's at?
110 points. No, I have never heard. No, Spring, Texas. I don't know where it is. No.
Yeah, I wonder if that's
But
near Houston also.
I don't know. I'll have
Yeah,
to
well,
look
we'll
it up
find
on
out.
Google.
Yeah, but
Okay.
111 points, right?
Yeah, not 110, 111 points. So yeah, 3-round late war. So get that
Yeah.
extra command card in there. Okay.
And
Well, that's it.
and yeah, that's it. And so just to give credit where credit is due, we basically just pull these off of battle rankings. Joe would just go pull it from his weekly broadcast and snap, so that's where it's nice. He's keeping track of it, so it would be redundant for us to do the same. But we do want to just share that information on this media as well. And so thanks for keeping those updated. And we're also, I guess they're going to do some changes over there at Battle Rankings and how they manage the system, and more people being involved. So there'll be some changes coming up with that. So wish them luck for those things to pan out and for them to be able to be of service to the gaming community. So any case, all right. So final thoughts.
I'd like to,
Go ahead.
I'd like to see our West Coast listeners go ahead and call into Battle Ranking so we can post their stuff on here. Also, give them some advertisement time on here. So I'm just curious who's doing what where. I know we got things going on in Seattle. Got my old friend Chris Little up there playing, but I don't see anything else going on.
Yeah, and if you let us know, I mean, like our buddies up in Rhode Island, they canceled their latest event, but they'll, if you let us know what you got going on, we'll add it, because the battle ranking isn't all encompassing. There's always little things happening here and there that aren't covered by there, because it's just at the moment one guy doing that, and I guess in the near future too. So they'll be able to hopefully keep up the speed on what's out there more. But at least there's one place where there's a weekly kind of refresh on the list of what's coming up, and for that I'm thankful. And but we can supplement that, and we have supplemented. We just don't have anything additional today. And you're right. This is going all the way out till June, so this is almost a 6-month, into June. So this is basically 6 months of stuff. There'll be a lot more events coming. They'll be popping up all over the place. They already are. I'm already tracking a few. I just, not smart enough to tag them or save them so that I can, I've seen a couple other things announced that look kind of interesting in the, on the east of the Mississippi. So anyway, so good, and very, very happy to see events still going. We had a very big, our local guys, you and I were not able to participate. We missed the last week version. But the Passard family, they set up a very big multiplayer Bulge campaign. The 2 Saturdays in a row, where they had basically they had 5 tables put together in kind of a W fashion, and they had the German attack on one day, and then the American counterattack the next day. And I had a chance to see it yesterday. I couldn't participate yesterday because I had errands to do in the morning, and then I had to do something for my wife in the evening. So anyways, I only had enough time to squeeze in a quick game with John, but I went over and checked out the table and chatted with the guys. They're having a great time, and good Lord, they had all 3 Passards, and they had Charles McKellar and Don Blevins and Alan Gomez and a new gal who I can't ever remember her name. She's just starting to play Flames of War. Steve was there, so Chad was there. So they had a pretty, good number of people playing a big multiplayer. What they used to call that, mega war or total war kind of scenario. Yeah, so it was there must have been several thousand points on the board. It was quite impressive. So glad to see events like that still going on, even amongst the continuing dealing with COVID.
I was quarantining. That's why I wasn't there.
Yeah, well, I was. You were concerned that you had been exposed.
I had been.
I had been sick and tested negative, but still was feeling sick, and so I didn't want to go if I was going to be still coughing and sneezing, whether I was negative or not, because you never know. It could be a false. The test could have been, false negative. Right. And then the second Saturday, I wasn't there for the first one, so I didn't really want to just upset the balance and interject and try to, shove myself into the second one.
Swing the tide of the war. Yeah. There you go. Out of nowhere.
Yeah, and I had been out of town for the previous week for my anniversary trip, so we had just gotten back on Friday, and so I had a lot of chores and things to do to get caught back up on, and actually work. I had to get caught back up on my email from work because I just didn't want to go on Monday with a whole week's worth of email waiting for me. I wanted to get that out of the way and make sure I took care of all the critical things already. So, anyways, great deal. Any other thoughts looking forward?
No, I'm just looking forward to the spring and the better weather and hopefully COVID going away. So, or at least lightening up enough that makes it safer to travel and get people involved.
Sounds great.
Yep.
All right, man. Well, why don't you take us out of here, Ed?
Okay. Well, that wraps up another podcast for us. And we look forward to hearing from you guys. Any questions, issues, whatever, send it on in. And we'd like to address it. And anything that you guys want to talk about or any questions, issues, or new stuff or thoughts that we have on the different forces, send it on in here. We'll get some comments. And
you can find us on the No Dice, No Glory forums. You can email us at podcast@battlevault.com. Podcast and BattleVault all being one word. And you can on Facebook on the No Dice, No Glory Facebook group. I'll see anything you post there. So any way you want to get information to us or message us, we look forward to hearing from you. We'd love to get feedback and love to get ideas, things you'd like us to cover. And we'll try to be of service to the community. That's all we really want to do. All right.
There you go.
All right, Ed.
Take care, go out there and enjoy yourself and have fun.